Couple hours ago that Ken Paxton spoke out in front of cameras. This was the first time since a committee referred him for impeachment.
Now tomorrow, that's the big day. Lawmakers are going to vote on those 20 articles of impeachment. Let's get to political reporter Jack Fink right outside of Paxton's office at the Capitol. Jack, tell us what Paxton had to say today.
Well, first of all, Nicole and Jason, it's not very often that Texas Attorney General Ken Paxton appears before Texas reporters. He did today. He read a lengthy statement, but he did not stay and answer our questions. Paxton did go after House Speaker Dade Phelan, a fellow Republican, and said his effort to impeach him will leave, quote, lasting damage in the Texas House where Paxton once served. The 20 articles of impeachment against Paxton include abuse of public trust, being unfit for public office, dereliction of duty, and constitutional bribery, which is related to his alleged actions with an Austin businessman. Paxton has previously denied any wrongdoing. Now, this is a process that began in March. The Texas House General Investigating Committee began looking into all this because Paxton requested taxpayer money to pay a $3.3 million settlement for a whistleblower lawsuit. The whistleblowers were 4 of Paxton's top staffers in his office who he selected. He fired them after they went to the FBI 2.5 years ago and made allegations of bribery against him. One Republican lawmaker I spoke with praised the House committee overseeing the impeachment process, but Paxton has criticized the investigators hired by the House committee as being partisan Democrats.
By proceeding with this illegal impeachment scheme to overturn a decision made by Texas voters just a few short months ago, the corrupt politicians in the Texas House are demonstrating that blind loyalty to Speaker Dade Phelan is more important than upholding their oath of office.
I feel certain that they wouldn't be bringing something to us if it wasn't a serious matter. So I have had a chance to read the resolution, sift through the articles of impeachment, and look forward to having those discussions with other members on the floor and figuring out what the temperature for this is. And it certainly has some very far-reaching implications.
It will take 75 votes, a simple majority, to impeach Paxton. And if the House does impeach him, he will be suspended immediately from his job as Attorney General, pending the outcome of a trial in the Texas Senate, where 2/3 of senators have to vote to remove him from office. One of the senators is Paxton's wife, Angela, senator who represents McKinney. Now, the Texas Constitution requires that all of these senators be impartial, and one legal expert I spoke with says it's very unlikely that Paxton will be allowed to be in there or at least take part in this process. Nicole?
So, Jack, I have to ask, we heard Paxton during that appearance before the media asking his supporters, go to the Capitol tomorrow, let your voice be heard. But there's also another group that's asking people to show up tomorrow as well. So can you tell us what you're learning about that?
Well, the Texas Democratic Party is asking local Democrats to come to the Capitol and go into the House gallery and watch the proceedings. They want them to make their presence known to lawmakers that are in there, but they want them to be peaceful and they want them to be respectful of the rules in the House gallery, just as Ken Paxton asked his supporters to do as well.
All right. All eyes on Austin. Jack Fink, thank you so much.
The Attorney General's office handles everything from human trafficking and cybercrime investigations to defending Texas's interests on a national level. Governor, as you heard, would have to appoint someone to fill that role if Paxton has to leave. SMU political expert Matthew Wilson told us it's unlikely, though, that we would see any major change in how the office operates.
The governor is a Republican. Everybody in any position of authority in Texas state government is a Republican. It's not as if there's going to be some sort of, woke attorney general that's going to get appointed on an acting basis to replace Ken Paxton. So regardless of who would step in on that interim or acting basis, it's likely to be somebody with basically the same overall conservative Republican mindset.
Wilson says biggest impact may be in the signal that this sends to voters statewide, that there are some things that rise above party loyalties and that parties are willing to hold their own accountable. Right now on our website, you can read the articles of impeachment and how the whole process will work. Also, you'll want to see Jack's interview there with a Dallas appellate attorney who gives some in-depth insight to all of this. You can use that QR code you see on the screen. It'll go straight to our website, cbsnewstexas.com. Remember, we're always streaming, too, on our CBS Texas app and Pluto TV.